Hello and welcome back to The Boat Show. Today I'm going to be interviewing marine industry identity Barry Jenkins to talk all things boating and his career in the marine industry over the past 25 years. So Barry, how did you first get into boating?
Well, it all started when my godfather took me boating when I was about 3. I think it was about that time. And virtually from then I've been involved with boats one way or another ever since. There was a break in the middle of my career where I wasn't really involved with boating. It was more an entertainment genre that I got myself involved with. But from being in boats as a kid and then starting work, in the days when they were still building boats at Evans Deakin in Brisbane, the company I was involved with then, we were doing a lot of work on those boats. And for all the boat builders in Brisbane, the Brisbane River, around the Bulimba reach of the Brisbane River, was lined with boat builders, and we did a lot of work for the boat builders at the time. And then I had enough of that for a while, and I ran away to sea, and as they say in the novels, and had 3 years with the Adelaide Steamship Company, but for family reasons had to come back. And so I came back and went into the industry I was in before I left, and then through a whole strange set of circumstances found myself here at Sanctuary Cove. And when I came, one of the things I was asked to do was put an events program together. A boat show had been done for the ultimate event, which was the official opening of Sanctuary Cove, and then we built on that, and out of that came the boat show, and it's out of that whole event program that we started. The boat show is the only event now that is left, and it's had a we're gearing up now for the 24th boat show, which will be next year. And then in 2013, a quarter of a century of boat shows here at the Cove.
So let's talk about the boat show. How big is the boat show now? What sort of capacity?
Well, pardon me, when we started the boat show back in 1988, that is when the actual recreational marine industry in Queensland or in Australia, and for that matter in the world, was really starting to grow. And the boat show virtually grew as the industry grew. So as, for instance, one of the biggest manufacturer of cruises in Australia, Riviera, as it grew, it was saying, well, instead of 8 boats this year, we want to put 9 in. And instead of 9, we'll need to put 10 in, and so forth. And a lot of other manufacturers were the same. So we grew the boat show with the industry. And in the years 2000 and probably 2005, 6, 7, 8, around the water there'd be up to 455 boats on water, another 500 through the village, like through the streets of the village, and then of course all the chandlery and the electronics and everything else in the big structures that we put up to house the boat show. Now, since that wonderful thing called the GFC, the industry has shrunk, and the boat show has shrunk with the industry. Although we've still done more than 400 exhibitors each year. The number of boats on water has decreased. I think this year we only had about 130, 140 boats on water. But you can only put on water or on land or anywhere else what the industry has to offer.
Sure.
So if the industry is building less boats and they haven't got the models to put down, well, we can't put them down.
And Barry, what's a highlight of the boat show for you?
The highlight of the boat show for me, well, and I've been asked this question before, and really I can't specify what that is, but I think one of the best things, or one of the most gratifying things, is when you walk the marina and you just listen to what people are talking about. Oh, one of these days I'm going to own a boat like that. Or, no, I think if I was going to do it, I'd prefer a boat like this. And really, that's where it's all about.
And how often would you say you get out on the water these days?
Well, I'd like as often as I can. And if you can see that big Riviera behind me, it was only a few weeks ago that we were out on that for the day, which was a great experience and on a beautiful boat. But I don't get that much time just at the moment, even though I'm supposed to be semi-retired, because of my involvement with industry associations like Marine Queensland and Super Yacht Australia. There's one or two more in there and I just can't think of them at the moment. But being involved with those associations keep us busy, looking after the industry and looking after advocacy and talking to the people that matter within the industry. And also here at the Cove, my responsibilities are looking after our international clients, our government and our contacts within government, and obviously within the industry associations.
You're a very busy man by the sounds, Barry. Do you ever think you'll retire fully?
Oh yes, yes. My tenure with Marine Queensland will probably end next year, and that's, I think I've been there 12 years or something. But I've promised Sanctuary Cove to stay around to 2013 for the 25th show, which will be a quarter of a century. And while there's so much to be done, it's all hands on deck, especially at this time with the industry in the situation it's in. And anything that I can do and contribute to keep the industry static and hopefully moving forward as things begin to get progressively better, the better it'll be, and I'll stay doing it.
Barry, in terms of the Gold Coast and the beautiful destinations that are around here, what are your favourite places to get away to for a boating holiday?
The best cruising ground, in my opinion, is right here in Queensland, which is the Great Barrier Reef. Start at Gladstone and go to Cooktown, and there's everything you could possibly want there. And I don't think you'd find better waters or better cruising anywhere in the world.
I believe you like to fish from time to time. Do you have any local favourite hotspots around here?
Well, you can't fish here in the marina, but as you go further down the Coomera River towards the Broadwater, there's a few spots down there along the walls where you can, if you know exactly where to go, it's not hard to pick up the occasional mangrove jack and what have you. The Coomera River still in places has a supply of mud crabs that you can get from time to time. Personally, I like to fish the Broadwater, get out onto the Broadwater and do some fishing, and more or less, not seriously, just to while away the hours. I've been fortunate enough to go deep sea fishing once or twice, and that can be quite thrilling when you get a strike and see the fighting of whatever it is on the other end of the line. And fortunately, the people associated with that now are tag and release, so they catch the fish, they tag it, they release it, and no harm done.
Well, thank you for your time today, Barry. It's been great to hear all your boating insights from over the years, and we look forward to seeing you on the boating show next week.
With some of the marinas down at Horizon Shores, where they were just sort of trying to get a better idea as to when people came to the marina or left the marina, what they were doing. And you know, we would normally assume that people go there and once they get on the boat they go out fishing or something like that. Well, actually that was really not what a lot of people do. They actually just go out and cruise, and they'll go down to, say, Sanctuary Cove and have a coffee or a meal or something like that. So they really are part of that day on the water destinations that people love to go out to and pull up at and access the facilities there.
Is research a big part of a marina's modus operandi? I mean, do they conduct research on their clients?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the whole idea of building a facility, you know, which interfaces the land and the water, is one that takes a lot of approvals and so on. So they really do a lot of research about, you know, how they operate these facilities from an environmental perspective, but how they also access them from a customer's perspective, whether they own a boat or not.
And you mentioned difficult to get approvals. How's Queensland going for keeping pace with demand for berths and marinas? Are we likely to see any more?
The future projections are is that we still need more marina berths, and I think that as you see more pressures coming to bear on things like the environmental impact of swing moorings and some of those sort of anchorages
floating
out
berths,
there, and
things
floating
like that.
berths and that you'll see that marina facilities will be further encouraged as a means of just managing that marine environment, so that our waterways don't become too congested, and that you know, the quality of the vessels out there on the water are at an appropriate standard as well.
Certainly a lot of people who might not be into boating would have seen those devastating pictures of Cyclone Louis and the rest of them passing through up north. What is the marina's role in not mitigating those events, because they can't control God, as we all know, but what is the marina's role there to protect their entrusted boats?
I think if you look at marinas like at Mackay, you know, which was subject to a fairly large cyclone event up there, there was very, very minimal damage done to the vessels that were actually in the marina. So the vessels that were damaged were typically outside on swing moorings and ended up on rocks and things like that. So the marinas really are a safe haven because it's part of the way they're designed. Though naturally, when you look at marinas like Hinchinbrook, which was subject to Yasi, which was a massive storm, I mean, it doesn't really matter where you are, you're going to cop it. But even having said that, you know, the number of boats that were actually damaged to write-off stage, even up there with that sort of devastation, wasn't that large in comparison to vessels which were outside of the marina.
And I think too, it comes back to community. I know we've got a boat up at Hamilton Island, and we've had quite a number of different things go through up there. We were up there just before the cyclone hit last time, and we were tying our boat down and, you know, pulling things off and making sure that we were having it as safe as possible. But our friends that weren't there, we went around to their boats too and made sure we did everything we could to help their boats. So it's a real community spirit. If something's happening that could threaten the marina or your boat or your friends or your lives, you all pull together and you become like a family. And I think that's what I see with different marinas around the world. You know, they're like a little family of friends that you get to see every now and again. And
actually, I think I just mentioned through the Riviera family, I interviewed a couple who said sometimes they don't even get out of the marina because their friends are in 2 doors down and they end up staying. They said, all our plans went to hell, we just stayed and drank and played games, and the camaraderie at the marina is almost more so than out on the
Well, we always
water.
go, if it's raining, we always go down to the boat for the weekend because we can catch up on someone's boat and we have, you know, pre-dinner drinks here and those sorts of things. So, yeah, it's great fun.
Well, Tony, I can nearly fit inside of this steering wheel here.
Just about.
This is brilliant.
So obviously this is the opposite side to luxury laying around and having a barbecue. This is one of the race boats that we sell down here. And there's a huge contingent of yachtsmen up and down the east coast of Australia. And again, every yacht's got to have a home. And it's just as good a boat to come down with some mates and share a beer on after you've been out at sea.
But if you've got the need for speed, this is the boat for you.
If you want to go sailing fast, sure it is.
What speed would you get up to in this boat?
It's probably capable of doing about 18 knots downwind on a nice breezy day.
Okay.
That's enough to turn most non-sailors into converts.
Absolutely.
So let's go and have a look at Sunseeker, eh?
Okay, great. So what have we got here, Tony?
Well, this one's what they call a Ranger, so it's a 52-foot aft cabin version. So it's a really popular boat for couples or families who want to actually go and live on the boat permanently for a long period of time. It's got a really big aft cabin in it that goes from one side to the other, so it's probably the size of a traditional queen-size bed in a house. Full walk-around facilities. It's very much like a very large apartment. And in this particular one, we've got a cockpit put on the back, which means you can actually go fishing out at sea in it. So it's a really good multi-purpose boat. But a lot of people buy these, as I said, just to simply live on long term. And the guy that had this lived on this boat for just on 3 years.
Okay.
And he's just gone back on the land. So a lot of people do that transition of come and enjoy the lifestyle, get it out of their system, and then they go back and become landlubbers again for a while.
And I suppose it's not as luxurious as the other one, so it's more of a fun boat, I guess, that you can just run around in. And
very, very functional inside.
Well, that's great. Can you show me something else?
Yep, absolutely. Come and have a look at this Sunseeker. So Bernadette, this is the Sunseeker. This one's built in England, and it's probably famous worldwide for being the brand of boat that they use in most of the James Bond movies. So it's really built quite a cult following with a certain group of people. A good, really fast boat. I mean, if you want to go fast on the water, a Sunseeker is your bit of gear.
Well, I can imagine going for a running leap and diving off the front of this boat.
That's what they're built for. But come on up and have a look through.
Okay. Well, Tony, I told you I've got my boat licence. You said I can drive anything. Let's take this baby out.
Let me just get some fuel organised and maybe we can go for a run.
That's always the problem, the fuel, isn't it?
Absolutely. Especially on a go-fast boat like this. I mean, it can obviously chew the juice when you're really going fast. But it's capable of about 35 knots. And it's actually quite an ocean-going vessel. It actually sailed up from Melbourne, this boat under its own steam.
Right.
So it's already been up and down the east coast of Australia, but it's built for a certain image and to go fast.
And the great thing about this is that you've got the electric windows, the electric sunroof, nice and easy.
Yep, fully air conditioned. You can have as much sun or as least as you like. It's about as good as it gets, one of these.
Well, we've got a few luxuries down here. We've got the telly. This looks like a great poker table.
Sure is, and I'm sure there's been a few games played. Both stereo system. The best bet is usually with a Sunseeker it comes with the best champagne there is.
Nice. And talk me through the little kitchenette we've got here.
So it's fairly simplistically laid out, but at the end of the day, this being a sports boat, it's designed mainly for day outings or for a weekend away. And in all reality, most of these sports boats, like this one, has probably never actually ever been cooked on. You'll be using the barbecue outside, or in all reality, again, most people go from marina to marina, go and enjoy a good seafood meal, and this is somewhere to sleep.
Yeah, and just dump the occasional dirty dish.
Occasionally.
Great.
But you really do live outside. I mean, nearly everything you do on boats, at least in Australia, nearly everything you do is outside. So this boat's got a barbecue set up outside. It's got another washing station outside, hot and cold water out there. You really tend to do all of your food preparation outside, and at the end of the day, most of it's prawns and champagne. Yeah,
and with the blessing of the weather that we have here,
Absolutely.
Why would you want to be down here?
Absolutely.
So we're on a Riviera at the moment.
Yep.
Aussie built.
Aussie built, one of my favourite models, an M370. I think we probably underrate the strength of the Australians in the boating industry. Out of all the brands, I honestly think Australians probably build better quality boats than anywhere else. The marketing though has a perception that some Italian boats and some of the luxury English brands are worth more, but in all reality, Australians build a damn good product.
And you would think so. I mean, the Australian lifestyle is synonymous with being out on the bay or in the ocean or by the beach. So you'd think we'd be able to build a decent product.
Yeah, we just fall for the marketing tricks like everyone does in every industry. You know, you always want something that's imported, but in all reality, they're as good as they get, new or old.
Do you get many buyers that are like picky about where the country that their boat is built in?
Not so much in most styles, only in sports boats. And the sports boat buyer is similar to a guy that would be buying a sports car, and they're a bit more brand conscious, if you like. but boats outside of sports boats are usually bought for a specific purpose in mind, and it's more, does that particular vessel and model fulfil the needs of that client?
Well, you know what, Tony? I'd really love you to take me out on a boat. Do you think you can?
I think we can. Let's go boating.
Great. Fire up, Captain.
You ready to go boating?
Ready to
Let's
go,
go
Captain.